Okay, kule video sizokwenza imath yaka N4 kodwa kule solve ama equations sisebenzisa indlela eziwu5. It's either solve the equation by finding out common factors, which is the method that you are taught or on N4, noma sizosebenzisa grouping, noma sizosebenzisa difference between two squares, or a quadratic trinomial technique, or sum of and difference between two cubes. Njengoba sizobe sixoxa kule video, ngizokusiza ubone ukuthi iyiphi indlela ongabona ngayo uma kufanele usolve equation using by taking out common factors, or by using one of the methods that I've just discussed. So asiyeke. Okay, asiqale sibhale i-equation. Uma sikhuluma nge-equation sikhuluma ngento so. Let's say we're given the equation 2 pi x minus 6 pi y plus 8 pi x squared. Okay, just for demonstration purposes, let's also write this one on this side. 2x squared, ne? 8x plus 10x plus 40. So lana sisakhuluma ngendlela yokuqala yokusolve equation by taking out common factors. Okay, this is how you see ukuthi le equation ungayisolve by taking out common factors. The first variable has got pi. The second variable has got pi but does not have x. The third variable has got pi also, x, but does not have y, and there was no y here. So what is common on these three variables is pi. And we also see that if we can divide by 2, here we'll get 1, and here we'll get 3, and there we'll get 4. So we can also take out 2 as the common factor. So that's how we see ukuthi equation singayisolve by taking out common factors. Sikubona kanjani ngokuthi wonke ama variables akwi equation abe nokuthile okufanayo. If ama variables akwi equation enakho okuthile okufanayo bese kuthi i-variable eyodwa ingabi nakho okufanayo, just like this one here. We've got the variable, we've got x, we've got x, we've got x. Wow, but we don't have x there. Then we cannot take out the common factor here. So on this variable we can't solve it by taking out the common factor. But on this one, we can solve it by taking out the common factor. So let's do that. We said we will also take out 2 as the common factor. So if we take out 2 pi here, we will be left with x. If we take out, if we divide by 2 pi here, we will get minus 3y. If we divide by 2 pi here, we will get plus 4 x squared. How I arrived here, just in case someone is confused, I said 2 pi is the common factor, so I just did this. 2 pi was dividing here, minus 6 pi y divided by 2 pi, plus 8 pi x squared divided by 2 pi. So pi would cancel pi, and 2 would cancel 2, leaving us with x. Pi would cancel pi. 2 will cancel, 2 would divide 6 and leave us with 3y, which is what you see, and pi would cancel pi, and 2 would go to 8 4 times. Then we'll be left with 4x squared, which is what you see. It's always easy to solve equations taking out the common factors. I think just one example on solving an equation by taking out common factors is enough. Asidlulele phambili siye kwi-grouping. Okay, kwi-grouping kunento ekumele uyibambe ungayikhohlwa, uyisebenzise kuyo yonke i-equation oyithola inama variables awu-4. If leyo nto uyibambile wayisebenzisa kuwo wonke ama-equations anama variables awu-4, ngeke ucabanga ukuthi isibalo sizosolveka ngegrouping bese usolve uhluleke endleleni uzame enye indlela. So like sibonile lana ukuthi taking out the common factor won't help. So will e-grouping work? This is what you must know. This is the first variable, second variable, third variable, fourth variable. Nayi method engifuna uyibamba. Wabamba le uphasile. Kwi-grouping, you must take the second variable, divide it by the first variable. It must be equal to the fourth variable divided by the third variable. So let's take it and see what we'll get. Oh, sorry, but by saying variable, well, we're just taking the numbers, we're just taking the numbers, right? We will take these numbers. So we will say 8 divided by 2, and we'll say the 40 divided by, you're taking the number on the first variable, 40 divided by 10, this gives us 4, right? And this gives us 4. So when the number on the second variable divided by the number on the first variable equals to the number on the fourth variable divided by the number on the third variable, grouping will work. If you don't get the same thing, then don't use grouping. Find another method of solving that equation. So we're saying on this one, which is 2x squared plus 8x plus 10x, grouping will work. Plus 40, grouping will work. Okay. Let's take out the greatest common factor on this. The greatest common factor here is x, but we can also see that if we divide by 2, here we'll get 1 and there we'll get 4. So we'll also take out 2 as the greatest common factor. So we take 2x out, and here we get x, and here we get 4. We come to this one. We take out 10, and we will be left with x, and we will be left with 4 there. You see, once you see this, you know that you have won, because you will now take 2x plus 10, multiply that by 4, multiply that by x plus 4. If you would FOIL this, you would get the very same thing. You would get this 2x times x is x squared, and 2x times 4 it's 8x. 10 times x it's 10x, and 10 times that's 40. So that's how grouping could be easy when you know your story. Asenze esinye isibalo kwi-grouping esokugcina. Let's say we are given this equation. Let's hope I will get enough space. Let's say we are given 6 pi 6 pi x plus let's say let's not say 6 pi x, let's make it simple a little bit. Let's say 4 pi 4 pi x, let's say plus 30, let's just say, okay, let's add something, make it interesting. Let's say 3b there, yeah, and let's say bx minus 2x. I'm trying to make an equation that will make things easy for us. If we divide 4 by 6, what we get? Let's write here 4 by 6, and if we divide 3 2 by 3, we get 2 over 3. Okay, we know that here 2 is the greatest common factor. Okay, then our method of checking is fitting. So we've got what we wanted. We can use the grouping, because when we divide a second variable in a first variable, we get the same thing that we get when we divide a fourth variable in a third variable. I'm trying to mean a number every first variable na second variable. So a grouping is osebenza ne. Let's take out the greatest common factor, the GCF. The greatest common factor would be 2. I think you agree with me. If we take out 2, we also have pi in common. Pi, and we will be left with 3b, right? 3b. Oh, this is complicated, nyana, ne? So Lana will be left with 2x. Oh wow. Then let's come here. What is the GCF, greatest common factor? It's x. So we will say plus, we will take out x, and here we'll be left with 3b, and here we will be left with minus 2x. That's what I was trying to do when I was rapping a lot. Bengifuna ukwenza isibalo esizovuma i-grouping. Ngizenza ngiyithathele ekhanda nalezi ibalo. That is why I will write and erase. So lona nalona bayafana. We've won the battle. So lona nalona babefana, sithatha u2 pi plus x simvalele, bese sibuyisa u3b minus 2x. If you would FOIL it, you would get the same thing that we had here. 2 pi times 3b gives us 6 pi b. 2 pi times minus 2x, we get minus 4 pi x. X times 3b, this x is positive, so we get plus 3bx. if we say x times minus 2x squared, we get that very same thing. So we know we have 1. So that was it for solving equations using the common factor. Solving equations by taking out common factors, or solving equations by grouping. So what have we learned? Sifundile ukuthi uma sinikwe equation, i-variable yokuqala ne-variable noma wonke ama-variable akwi-equation, once sabona ukuthi ama-variables akwi-equation ana-something in common, sizosolva leyo equation by taking out common factors. But if that method doesn't work, then we check ukuthi how many variables are we having. If we've got 4 variables, sizobheka i-grouping. I-grouping siyibheka kanjani? As I've said, by taking the number on the second variable and divide that number by the number on the first variable. It must be equal to the number on the fourth variable divided by the number on the third variable. If we get the same thing if the left hand side equals to the right hand side, we will use grouping. If the left hand side does not equal to the right hand side, asizukuyisebenzisa grouping. Okay, ibhodi lami sengilisulile, siqhubekela phambili. We will also be given, okay, lokhu ngizokwenza ngenxa yokuthi kukhona ukufana okukhona. Kunenye indlela futhi yokusolve ama-equations ekhona. Leyo ndlela, it's when you just find the difference of 2 squares. 2 squares, okay. What do we mean by 2 squares? We mean that we've got a squared on an equation minus b squared. So there is also a cubed minus b cubed, a cubed plus b cubed. So why ngikwenza so kuyilapha incwadi yakho ithuma isuka la iye kuma quadratic trinomials? Ingenxa yokuthi kunokufana. When we say squares, we mean 2. When we say cubes, we mean 3. So when we have difference of 2 squares, we have this. When we have difference of 2 cubes, we have this. We also have sum of 2 cubes. So that's the difference. We don't have the sum of the 2 squares. So you will also be given an equation ongeke uzisolve by taking out the common factor or by grouping. So you might solve that equation by this method or by this method. So ake siyibhaleke le equation ukuze uyibone ukuthi ingaba njani. It will have 2 variables. Any equations with 2 variables, try to see ukuthi what are you dealing with, the squares or the cubes. For example, if I say x squared minus 4, that is a square. So once ubone a square and ubone ama variables out 2, the difference of 2 cubes. But what if I say let's say I say x cubed and I say minus let me take my calculator and I say minus 27. Yes, minus 27. lezi zibalo ngizenza ezisixoxa. So what you see is the cubed, and what you see, two variables. So once you see a cubed and you see the second variable, you don't see the third variable, then ingqondo yakho mele ikutshele that's the difference of two cubes or sum of two cubes, because I can also change here. Let me get another cube. I can also change here and say 64 and say x cubed plus 64. You see a cube and you see 64. Wow, you know what you are dealing with. You are dealing with the difference of two cubes. It does not have to be like this. I can also add here to confuse you a little bit, and I can also add 27 here to confuse you a little bit and see that you would be able to solve it. So to solve these equations, you only need to remember the formula. This is equal to a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b, a minus b. So on this equation, you must remember that 4 is 2 raised to 2. Or you must remember that a squared is equal to x squared. If you find the square root of this, a will be x, and b squared on this case is b squared is 4, huh? So if you find the square root of that, you will get b that is equal to 2. So you just go and substitute here. X squared minus 4x would be equal to a is x, right, plus 2, and x minus 2. So that's how easy it is to solve equations using the difference of two cubes. You can also get it will not always be easy like this. So sometimes singayicomplicate izinto bese sithi 25 sithi x squared bese sithi minus, because it must always be minus 64 y squared. On this case, you just have to remember this is your a, this is your b. So if this is our a, okay, let's come and write here. I will just come and write the answer there. A squared is 25 x squared. This makes a be equal to, what is the root of 25? It's 5. So this makes a equal to 5x. B squared is equal to 64 y squared. So this makes b equal to, what is the root of 64? It's 8. This makes 8 y. So we're just substituting on the formula. So we know that this is equal to we know that a is x, 5x. We know that b is y minus 8y. 5x plus 8y. So ilula kanjalo nje. Sometimes besingayenza lento le ithi kuba nzimanyana sibone ukuthi ubuzoyibona yini athi ngikubonisa bengingasenza lesi sibalo ngithi u50 x squared bese ngithi u64 ngimreplace ngo minus 128 y squared. So lana if you go and look for a cubed root ka 50 uzoba senkingeni. I mean for i square root ska 50 uzoba senkingeni ne square root ska 124 uzoba senkingeni. So yini bekuzomela uyenze la? Bekuzomela uqale ukeep the greatest common factor which is 2. Then you would say this would be 25. Sorry about that. This would be 25x squared minus 64 y squared. So what's left inside is exactly that. So if I did that, let's sibalo besizoba 5x minus 8y 5x plus 8y. Then ubuye ubusolvile ke if ukubonile lokho. So that is why uqala ufunde ukuthi uma uthola i-equation bheka ukuthi awunakho yini okucommon kuwo wonke ama-variables aku-equation, then you take that out. If ubona kungekho bheka ukuthi ngeke uyisolve yini nge-grouping, but i-grouping esikhathini esiningi izosebenza la usuku nama-variables awu-4 khona. Then we just learned how to solve equations using the difference of two squares. We will apply this formula when we've got two variables in an equation and we see the square. But once we see the cube root, we know that we must either apply the difference of the cubes or the sum of the cubes, which is what we will do just now. Okay, before saying as I've promised the sum and the difference of two cubes, let's start with trinomials. Njengoba bengishilo, you will have two variables you will have two variables. Okay, uma ku-equation uba na two variables, it's either uzosebenzisa i-difference of two squares noma i-difference of two cubes or sum of two cubes, kuye ngokuthi ime kanjani leyo equation. But if an equation is a trinomial, then this is what you will do. A trinomial inama variables awu 3. That is why we call it a trinomial. Ama binomials la esuke sisebenzisa kuwo i-difference of two squares, i-difference of two cubes, ne sum of two cubes. So once we are given a trinomial, then that's another thing. Like a trinomial might be x squared plus let's say 8x, yes, and minus 9, yes. So what you do to solve a trinomial, you take this number, the last number 9. So sizofuna inamba ezimbili esingathi uma siyi times asithole le number. the first numbers will always be 1 times that number. 1 times 9. Do we have any number that we can multiply by 2 and get 9? No. Do we have any number that we can multiply by 3 and get 9? Yes, that is 3. So on this equation, which number we can multiply to get 9, add and get 8? So this one passes. If we say 1 times 9, we get 9. If we say, since this is positive, minus 9, minus 1 plus 9, we will get plus 8, which is the middle term. Let's say the equation was, sekufike enye equation ke manje la ekhanda ngokwalokho esengikwenzela angiyenze uzoyibona nayo izosebenzisa u9 ne. Okay, it would be positive 9 and it would be positive 6x. So it's the same number 9. But on this equation, will 1 times 9 help us? No, because if we say 1 plus 9, we'll get 10, not 6. If we say minus 1 plus 9, we'll get 8, not 6. So this one will work on this equation because if we add 3 and 3, we get 6. So, okay, on this equation, sesikutholile ukuthi ubani u1 no9. On this equation, sesitholile ukuthi u3 no3. But now we must say 3 plus 3. So, o3 bethu kumele babe positive. Uma sekunje sisuke sesiqedile. X ubani u9 u1. Sithe ubani negative u1. Sathi ubani positive u9. If you foil this, you will get that. Definitely. Asize kule. So lokhu kokwenza ama equations in front of you kokufundisa nawe ukuthi ngesinye isikhathi uma ubhorekile ungazenzela ama equation wasusele ekhanda then uwasolve. I-maths mele udlale ngayo. Ayinzima, ilula uma ufundiswe kahle futhi waqonda ukufundiswayo. So we said 3, we said o3 bethu bo2 ba positive. If you foil this, you get this. So that is how you will solve trinomials. They won't be always this easy. Sometimes they can be tricky. Let's do the last one. The last one is okay, let's write it here. The last let's say x squared plus 10x plus 16. It's almost the same like that one. Okay, let's take 16. Okay, the first number would be 1 times 16. Do we have any number that if we multiply by 2 we'll get 16? Yes, it's 8. Do we have any number that if we multiply by 3 we will get 16? Where is my calculator? I don't think we do have. No, we don't. Do we have any number that if we multiply by 4 we get 16? Yes, that's 4. 4 times 4. Let's stop. Our equation is usongakusebenzisa lokho uma uthanda uzenzele enye equation njengoba ngiyengenza. So on this equation, if we take this 2 and 8, add 2 and 8, we will get 10. So we have won. we have 1. Once we get the numbers that we can add get the middle term, suke sesiqedile. Uma singakayi like lezi masi-add asiyitholi middle term, masi-add lezi asiyitholi middle term. For us to use this number, mhlawumbe lana bekuzomele kube u-15, yabo, then lana kube u-minus. So sengiyakufundisa manje nawe ungazenzela wakho ama-equations, but to make these equations you need to know this method. Sithe sisebenzisa u-8 no-2. Uqedile, ilula kanjalo nje. Cishe njengamanje sesingadlulela kwi-sum of cubes ne-difference of cubes. Okay, last but not least, the sum of and the difference of two cubes. Okay, sikhuluma ngani usuyazi vele ngikutshelile. Once sabana cubed root, okay, let's start with the sum. Sabane cubed root. Okay, this is the sum of the cubed root, or this is the sum of the cubes, and this is the difference of the cubes. Always remember this formula that I will write. How this formula is proven, it's there in your textbook. I will do a video later about that. It will depend. Uma ngithanda ngiyoyenza, uma ngingathanda ngizokuyenza, but if nifuna ngiyenze ngizoyenza. Kwi-sum yilokho kumele ukwazi. This is equal to a plus b into multiplied by this plus a b plus b squared. This one would be equal to, this is now the difference, would be equal to minus b, then we multiply this by a squared plus ab plus b squared. If ungabamba le formula, ungayikhohlwa nanoma inini, uqedile. The only thing that is different on this formula, in this formula, if you see, is this. When it's the difference, you just have a minus b. Everything is the same. So just keep this in mind and never forget this. Because if you forget this, you will have a problem, or I made a mistake, thank God I saw that mistake. This one is not positive, it's minus. It's minus. Please remember that. It will help you. It will help you kakul. Okay, once we have two variables and we see cubes, sizosebenza lama formula. Okay, nayi-ke i-variable yokuqala yethu, once yaba no plus asesocabanga leleya, but depending ukuthi I will give you two variables in, because I might change my mind. Okay, let me give you this. To solve this, you will apply this formula. As I've said, you just have to remember that a cubed is x cubed. So this makes a, if you get the cubed root of this, it would be x. B cubed, sorry about that there, b cubed would be 27, right? The cubed root of 27, it's 3, right? It's 3. So this makes b equals to 3. So you just substitute on that formula. This is equal to a plus b. So a is x plus b is 3. A squared, that would be x squared, minus ab, that's 3x, plus b squared. It's 3, so when you square 3, you get 9. That is it. Easy as ABC. If it was negative here, the only thing that was going to change was going to be this sign and this sign. So it's easy, but we can complicate it if we want to, just to see if you remember the things you have learned. Let's complicate it. This is the last one. This is the last one, the complicated one, right? Yes. Let's say, okay, let's just say x. Let's say x cubed plus 64. So here we are having a problem because we don't have a cubed root of 8, right? Oh, we do have a cubed root of 64. We do have. I was trying to make something that was not gonna be very easy, but it seemed as if I lost it. Okay, let's do this one. Let's make it negative. It's easy, man. It's easy. I'm not even happy on doing it. This would be our a cubed, 8x cubed. So this makes a be 2x, right? Because the cubed root of 8 is 2. B cubed would be 64, right? The cubed root of 64 is what? My calculator says it's 4. So this makes b equal to 4. So you just substitute on this equation because of this minus. So this would be equal to our a is 2x minus 4 into a squared. That would be 4x squared because we're squaring everything there, plus, because we're substituting on this one, plus 4 times 2, that would be 8x, plus 4 squared. When we square 4, my calculator says we get 16. Then we are done. So if you foil this, you must get this. What I wanted to do bengifuna like ngisengakwenza nakuleya ngibona ukuthi uzokubona yini. What if you are given 2x cubed minus or let me say you are given 3x cubed, just to confuse you a lot, 81. This is the same as that, but only if you take out the greatest common factor first and be left with x cubed minus 27. So this is exactly this, but the only difference is that you have minus now. So how will you solve it? You will say this is equal to 3 into, we know that we just have to substitute a and b. Okay, let's write it here. Our a, it's the same as that, man. There's no need of writing it. It's just that angisaboni manje ngoba sekukuningi engikubhalile. We would say x minus 3, and because the substitutes are lana, right, x minus 3, then plus plus. Okay, then this would be x squared plus 3x plus 9. Uqedile. So that was it. Yini esiyifundile, if ever equation in a 2 variables siyabheka ukuthi do we have a cube or do we have a square. If we have a square sizosebenzisa the difference of 2 squares, but if we have a cubed sizobheka ukuthi sino plus noma sino minus. Uma sino plus, we will use the sum of 2 cubes. If sino minus, we will use the difference of 2 cubes. Sometimes bazodlala ngathi bafake i-GCF njengoba ngiye ngenza. So we need to be careful, take out the GCF and get the difference or the sum of 2 cubes, then we solve isibalo. Siphasile i-maths yaka N4 ngaphandle kwenkinga. Okay, so I will be making more videos ukuze ngisize ingane zakanated kwi-maths, kwi-science, nakwi-electronics, because njengoba nibona kwi-channel yam I am an appliance tech, I am also an instrument mech, I am also an electrician theoretically, I am also a welder by experience. So ngizo-assista kulokhu engikwaziyo. Ngeke ngize ngikwazi ukuba assista be-mechanical because I don't know drawing, and I never did welding. If welders do drawing, I only did the practical part of welding. So angizokwazi ukubasiza nabo on their studies, but uma beyenza maths, they can come and check the videos that I'll be posting, but this will depend on ekuthenini ngiyasithola yini isikhathi, because nami ngiyasebenza. So and I am not a lecturer, but ngiyakuthanda ukufundisa, and I always had ama-study groups the time ngisafunda college. So I saw some videos on YouTube that are teaching native students. You can try those guys when my videos are not available. If you like my videos or you consider me to be the one that is helping you to progress on your studies, try them when my videos are not available. When they are available, take them. They are for free. Whenever you are given something for free, go and take it. Yes. So ningasubscribe kwi-channel ukuze nizothola ama-notifications uma ngi-uploade ama-video azonisiza. I will upload more videos soon. I'm gonna do ne-maths yaka N6 neyaka N5 ngizoyenza because I'm good at mathematics and I've got a distinction kwi-maths yaka N5, so I know my story there.